There are moments when everything in your life seems fine. Nothing dramatic is happening, no obvious crisis, no clear reason to feel upset. On the surface, things look normal, but inside, something feels missing. Not sadness, not happiness, just nothing. You go through your day, responding to messages, handling responsibilities, smiling when needed, but it all feels distant, like you're watching your own life instead of living it. And that's when the question quietly shows up. Why do I feel numb when nothing is actually wrong? It can be confusing, even a little unsettling, because numbness doesn't always come with a reason you can point to. It just arrives. Imagine a person going through a completely normal day. They wake up on time, grab coffee, check their phone, respond to a few emails, maybe joke with a coworker or two. On the outside, nothing seems unusual. But inside, their experience feels muted. Colors don't feel as bright. Conversations don't quite land. Moments that used to spark something now pass by without impact. They remember a time when small things used to matter more. A favorite song used to hit differently. A sunset used to feel calming. A text from someone used to bring a sense of connection. Now, those same moments feel flat, not bad, just empty. At night, they lie in bed and try to make sense of it. They think back through their life, searching for a reason. Nothing stands out, no recent loss, no major stress they can identify, no obvious explanation. And yet, the feeling persists. It's like something inside has quietly gone offline, so they start questioning themselves. Is something wrong with me? Why can't I feel the way I used to? Why does everything feel so distant? The answers aren't easy to find, because numbness doesn't always begin with something visible. Sometimes, it builds slowly, over time. From a psychological perspective, numbness is not the absence of emotion. It's often the result of emotional overload that hasn't been processed. The mind has a protective system built in. When emotions become too intense, too frequent, or too difficult to handle, the brain may begin to reduce emotional sensitivity. This isn't a conscious choice. It's a form of self-protection. Think of it like a circuit breaker in a house. When too much electricity flows through the system, the breaker shuts things down to prevent damage. In a similar way, when a person experiences prolonged stress, pressure, or emotional strain, sometimes without even realizing it, the brain may turn down emotional responses, not because something is wrong in the present moment, but because something has built up over time. This can happen after extended periods of stress at work, emotional responsibility in relationships, constant pressure to perform, or even years of pushing feelings aside without processing them. In many cases, people learn to function without fully acknowledging what they feel. They stay productive, they stay reliable, they stay composed, but the emotions that aren't expressed don't disappear. They accumulate quietly, and eventually, the mind may respond by creating distance from those emotions. That distance is what we experience as numbness. There's also another layer. Modern life often keeps people in a constant state of stimulation, notifications, deadlines, expectations, social comparisons. All of it keeps the mind busy. But being busy is not the same as being emotionally engaged. When the brain rarely gets moments of stillness to process internal experiences, it can become disconnected from them. Over time, this disconnection can feel like emptiness. Not because emotions are gone, but because access to them has been reduced. So, numbness isn't always a sign that something is broken. More often, it's a signal, a quiet indication that the mind and body may need space to reset, process, and reconnect. Feeling numb can be unsettling, but it's not meaningless. In many ways, It's the mind's way of saying that things have been held in for too long without enough release. It's not a failure, it's feedback. And the important thing to understand is that emotional awareness isn't always immediate. It can return gradually, not through forcing yourself to feel something, but by creating conditions where feelings can naturally resurface. That might happen in small, ordinary moments. Sitting in silence without distraction, allowing yourself to slow down without constantly reaching for something to occupy your attention, noticing what's happening internally without trying to judge it or fix it right away. Sometimes, numbness begins to soften when the pressure to feel something is removed, because ironically, the more someone tries to force emotion, the more distant it can feel. But when the mind feels safe, unpressured, and unhurried, it often begins to reconnect at its own pace. Another important realization is that emotional depth doesn't disappear permanently. It can feel out of reach for a while, but it's still part of your system, like a quiet background signal that becomes clearer when interference is reduced. And interference can come in many forms: constant stress, lack of rest, emotional suppression, or even just being overwhelmed by the pace of everyday life. So rather than seeing numbness as something to fight against, it can be more helpful to understand it as something to listen to, a temporary state that often points toward the need for rest, reflection, or recalibration. If you've been feeling numb lately, and nothing in particular seems wrong, there's no need to rush yourself into figuring it all out at once. You don't have to force clarity. You don't have to manufacture emotions just to feel normal. Sometimes, the most helpful thing you can do is allow yourself to exist without pressure, to move through your day without expecting a specific emotional outcome, to let your mind settle without demanding immediate answers. Numbness can feel like emptiness on the surface, but underneath, it's often a system that has been working hard for a long time, trying to protect, manage, and keep things going, and like any system, it benefits from space to recover. Over time, as the pressure eases and the mind finds moments of calm again, emotional sensitivity can return in subtle ways, not all at once, but gradually. A small sense of interest here, a quiet reaction there, a moment that feels a little more present than the one before. And eventually, what once felt distant may begin to feel reachable again. Not because something was fixed overnight, but because the conditions allowed it to come back naturally. So if things feel numb right now, it doesn't mean they will always stay this way. It may simply mean your mind is taking a pause before reconnecting with the full range of what you're capable of feeling.